Fellas, how we doing today? And welcome back to the channel. It should be a solid Wednesday here. We have two NBA playoff games tonight. We have the Heat versus the Knicks, and we have the Lakers versus the Warriors. So two potential closeout games, both 3-1 series. So two great games. Hopefully they're not blowouts like last night. Last night was just very annoying watching those games. Just wasn't fun. I wanted good basketball, and that obviously didn't happen in those two blowouts last night. But I'll be breaking down these games, going over my early look core plays, as well as doing a game by game breakdown. And I will do a potential lineup build, so stay tuned for that. So make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Do appreciate all the support recently. Check out my PrizePicks video after this. Check out my Patreon link down below for more PrizePicks plays, and I will get into this breakdown. So recapping yesterday, I played Jaylen Brown. I mean, that's really all you need to know. You got absolutely clapped. Played Jaylen Brown. The dude just doesn't want to score. So my lineup for DK was just tarnished. Played him, Derek White, Robert Williams. Absolutely got clapped. I played the showdown. I missed cash by like 6 just because, once again, Kevin Durant goes 2 of 10 in the first quarter. Dude just can't hit a shot. And yeah, it's just very annoying yesterday. Just absolutely burned all my money. You know, you pick up $20 for the main slate DK, burn that. You pick up the $18 for the showdown slate, burn that. You know, just take all that money, just toss it in the fireplace. Just burned it all last night. But looking to have a better night today. First game we have is Heat versus the Knicks. They're playing in New York, so home game for New York. -3.5 point favorites there for them over the Heat. 209.5 game total. In the Lakers versus Warriors, obviously it's playing at the Warriors home court. 7 point spread. Favorite to the Warriors. 226 game total. So obviously, just like pretty much every slate, the second game has pretty much been the one that has the highest game total. But there's been a lot of blowouts in these playoffs so far. Two winner go home games. So winner go home for the Knicks, winner go home for the Warriors. Both those teams are playing at home. So we'll have to wait and see. You know, hope there's two good games for tonight. Last night it was two blowouts, which was very frustrating. Just as a DFS fan and as a just NBA fan in general, to watch those games blowouts. You know, you want close games. But yeah, hopefully these two games tonight are going to be close. Starting off here with the first game, Miami and the Knicks. For the Miami side, I think Jimmy Butler is probably your safest spend up option. I mean, he's playing all the minutes. He has all the usage, triple double upside, can get a bunch of steals. So I think it's a very, very safe spend up play for today. 9,700. I really, really like him. Bam is more of your contrarian mid range option. We know the upside with Bam, as we saw last game. It's just one of those things where he's been all over the place in terms of his production. A little too pricey for a guy to go out there and get you 35 fantasy points. So you're really hoping for him to have a very solid game. It's just one of those things. I don't trust his production enough right now to land on him. But if you do, I think he's a solid contrarian option. As we saw last game, he does have the upside. So he makes for a decent play there. Moving on to the guards here. A big drop off from Jimmy and Bam down to the guards. Kyle Lowry, I think, is a safe option, a fine option. Should see anywhere from mid 20s to maybe even 30 minutes, depending on how he's playing. He's been productive the past 4 games, so I think he's a solid play here. Obviously, he doesn't shoot the ball a ton, but he can get to the free throw line. Can get rebounds, can assist, get some steals. So I think he's a solid play there at 5,300. Even though he's kind of on like a minutes limit per se. Gabe Vincent, it's just one of those things in DFS where it doesn't matter how bad a guy has been doing. If he has the minutes, if he's getting the starts, and if he's like a solid player, you got to throw out all the previous games in a row and just think about it. Just for this game tonight, does he have a path to success? Gabe Vincent does. As we can see here, he was starting, played 41 minutes, 33, 41. And that's even with Kyle Lowry being productive. Gabe Vincent was, able to hit shots, and he was able to, score, get some assists, get some rebounds. He can get steals as well. And he was going off for 32.5, 34, 33. Now, the past 2 games, obviously, has not been doing well. Blowout, played only 30 minutes, went 1 of 8. Last game is close game, but he only played 22 minutes. Why? Because he could not hit a shot. 1 of 7, got in some foul trouble, and they did not close with him. But he will start again today. If he hits some threes, gets going early, he will get extended. He will see close to 30 minutes, maybe even more, maybe mid 30s. So I still think he's a solid play here. He was like decent chalk the last 2 slates, but I do think the past 2 games will kind of freak people out. They'd rather land a Kyle Lowry. So I still think Gabe Vincent's a very solid play. You just got to throw the past 2 games out of the window and just think about, does he have a path to success for tonight? And he does. So I think he makes for a solid play. Strus, if you're the chalk donkeys that played him last slate, you did not deserve 31.5. I mean, he has strung 3 solid games together in a row, but the last time I played Strus was when he was 15% owned Going against Milwaukee there, what did he do? He started, he played 17 minutes. What did he give me? Zero stats besides 2 turnovers, -1 fantasy points, -1. I can't remember the last time a starter has gone out there and given -1 fantasy points in a game. I know I just talked about you have to throw those bad games out the window for like a starter, but it's so hard to do with Strus. He's very score independent. Obviously, he's had 3 solid games in a row, but we know if he doesn't hit his shots, he will get limited. So that's the risk with him. I think he's a fine play. No strong take on him. Kevin Love, I think he's a solid play as well. I'd rather go to him over Strus, even though his minutes are a lot less guaranteed. Like Kevin Love's pretty much capped at like 24 minutes per game, but he could definitely get you there if he's hitting his shots. Maybe he gets extended a little bit more, but they don't really close with him. They'll start him in the first quarter. He'll play like 7 minutes. He'll come into the second quarter, play like 3 at most, and then he'll start the third quarter, play like 7, and then he'll come in and play like 4 or 5 at the start of the fourth, and then he gets subbed out for Bam. So unless he's on fire, there's really no path for him to getting extended minutes, but he can still be productive in that amount of time. So I think he's a solid play there. I don't know if it's one of those where it's like you go out of your way to play him unless you kind of land on him in that mid range there at around the 5,000 mark. Moving on to Caleb Martin, I think he'll be a very popular play today. It's just one of those things. His minutes are kind of all over the board. Like he can be productive as we saw last game in mid 20s minutes. I think we expect the same thing mid 20s. If like if Strus is not doing well, Gabe Vincent's not doing well, they will look to Martin off the bench. He's kind of like a combo guard, combo forward who can do a little bit of everything. So I think it's a solid play. I'd rather get to him over Strus there. Duncan Robinson, if you think Strus is going to struggle, they will look to Duncan. Otherwise, he'll get limited to like mid-teens minutes. He really just needs to hit the shot. If he can't, then he's kind of screw you there at that price tag. So that's Miami Heat take. On to the Knicks take. For the Knicks here, Brunson, Randall, obviously we know pretty much the whole team there. Brunson's been the most consistent. He's gone for 20 or more points in every playoff game so far this season. So he looks really, really solid. He's a little bit more safe compared to Randall. Randall's all over the place in terms of his production. He fouled out last game, so he lost like 4 minutes in the last quarter there in the fourth quarter. Was off to a decent start. Almost got that double-double upside there. But, yeah, obviously he fouled out. So, yeah, I'm looking for a bounce back here for Randall tonight to 8,200. Winner go home game, playing at home. So I expect a decent game here for Randall. I still think Brunson's probably the better play. He's a safer play. Definitely has a little bit more upside with how he's been playing recently. But Randall still has, 50 plus upside if he's hitting the shots, getting some rebounds, playmaking. So I do like him there at 8,200. Barrett, more of that mid range play where it's just like he's kind of like a Bam. It's like most of the time not going to do you much, especially at the price tag. But it's like if they go for like kind of the close to their ceiling, like as we saw here last game for Barrett, he went for 35.5. That could really help you out, help your lineup out because he's going to be pretty low owned. Not a lot of people are going to want to play him or get to him. So he's a solid option there in the mid range just for that reason alone, just being like a contrarian option. Otherwise, I don't love his price tag. Josh Hart. I mean, the Donkeys got what they deserved. It was a little unfortunate because right before, or like 30 minutes before the game, they came out and said that he was out of the starting lineup. He was coming off the bench, which it definitely lowered his ownership. Like I was probably assuming he'd probably come in at like 50% owned, if not more. And then he came in at like 25% because a lot of people got off due to him not starting. So it wasn't as severe punishment as it should have been for the Chalk Donkeys. But yeah, he went out there, got more fouls than he did fantasy points, which is a little unfortunate. No, if he stays out of foul trouble, he should see 30 minutes tonight. So if he starts, I like him there at 5,800. But if he comes off the bench, I think he's more of just a contrarian play there. Don't love his price tag for someone who'd only see probably 30 minutes. And he's not going to come out and like shoot a ton. So I think he's okay. Mitchell Robinson, I do like him. Very contrarian play. It just, can he stay out of foul trouble? If he can, he has a path to see 30 plus minutes. They're going to need him for rebounding. They got absolutely killed on the glass last game. They let up a ton of offensive rebounds there. I think one possession, they let up like 4 offensive rebounds in a row to the Heat there. I think it was the third quarter, late in the third quarter or the fourth quarter. So yeah, they're going to need his rebounding. 4,900. He has huge upside if he's actually doing solid, gets a double-double, goes for a couple blocks. So he's one of those like X factors where it's like Yeah, he's been doing bad, but if he comes out and has a really strong game, he can go for 45 plus and help you get a takedown. So he looks solid quickly, looking doubtful once again. So I'm assuming Josh Hart will come off the bench. Grimes filled in for filled in for Josh Hart in the starting lineup. Played 42 minutes. Was a decent value play once again. I think he'll be a decent play. Not going to come out there and shoot the ball a ton, but can go for some stats, fill up the stat sheet. So I think he's okay there, 4,400. Toppin played only 6 minutes. Don't think there's a need to get to him. Hartenstein played 15 minutes. I think he's an okay play there, 3,500 dart throw range. That's it for the Knicks side. Moving on to the Lakers and Warriors game. Should be a fantastic game to watch here. Super excited for that. Anthony Davis, as I mentioned, or I don't think I in the previous video that I was recording, I mentioned this, but Anthony Davis, probably your safest in terms of just like consistency. Obviously, he had that one bad game there in game two, one for 31 after he went for 75 in the first game. But he's pretty much gone for 40 or more fantasy points every single game, closer to like 45, 50. So we know he's a huge, huge ceiling, massive ceiling there with the double double upside and blocks. So I think he was a very solid play there. Don't mind getting into him. LeBron James, been just pretty consistent in the 40s there. Nothing too crazy from him. So yeah, if I'm going to pay up for someone, I think LeBron's going to be the least owned out of all the stars across the board, just because he really hasn't flashed a ceiling recently. He hasn't been too aggressive, and so that reason alone, I think it makes him a solid play, just because he will be the lowest owned of the stars, and we know he's upside, like triple double upside. So I think he's a solid play there. In the mid range, D'Lo coming off a bad game there, I think he's still a very solid play. It's just one of those things, like his minutes aren't going to be huge, even in a close game, but he can still get you there. So he looks solid. Reeves finally had a solid game there. 34 minutes, 7 to 15, went for 32 fantasy points. Once again, I really like him. He should see around 35 minutes, if not a little bit more. Maybe this is the spark he needed to start playing well, start shooting well again. So I think he's a very solid play there. Once again, the 5,700. A guy who's going to see 35 minutes, maybe even a little bit more if he's doing well again. He's kind of like the third ball handler behind LeBron and D'Lo, and they do like using him. So he's aggressive. He's a solid player. I think Reeves comes in a very solid price tag, 5,700 for a guy who should see 35 or more minutes. Schroeder, I think a fine value play. He played a ton of minutes once again, 35. Was decently productive, so I think he'll be super chalky. But I mean, the minutes are there, so it's like it makes sense to get to him. Lonnie, not gonna lie, the Chalk Donkeys did not deserve that game there, but he's put two good games back to back, gone for two steals in each. So it's like, if he's going to be playing mid 20s minutes, obviously he's gotten extended because he shot the ball very, very well. But it's one of those things. It looks like he's solidified himself a role where he's at least going to play 15 minutes off the bench. So at 4,000, he's definitely in that value range. Don't mind landing on him, but if he's going to be a lot more chalky than a Dennis Schroeder, I'd rather get to Dennis Schroeder. But he comes in at nice eligibility with shooting guard and small forward potential. Moving on to the rest of the team here, Vanderbilt, 3,900 minutes have gone down. They've started closing with Lonnie Walker the past two games and Schroeder. So Vanderbilt's been one of the guys who was a starter that's getting thrown out of the starting lineup there, or the closing lineup. So I think he makes just for a very risky contrarian option there, 3,900. And then Rui, the last guy in the rotation, it's just one of those things. You need like LeBron, you need Anthony Davis in that whole starting five, someone in that starting five to get in foul trouble, or for the starting five to not be able to score, do bad. And then they'll look to Rui off the bench. As we saw that Golden State game, we know the upside with him. We saw the first three games there for the Memphis series. We saw that one game there, the third game for the Golden State series, or excuse me, the second game. He has the upside. It's just, can he get the minutes? And can he get the shot attempts? His only path to success is someone getting in foul trouble, or the starting five just not able to score, and they'll look to him. So maybe this is a game. The Warriors are playing at home, and that's huge for the Warriors because we know they play way, way better at home than they do on the road. It's one of those things, if they come out hot, they get up to a big lead, they'll look to Rui. So Rui could be another one of those plays where it's like, not a lot of people are going to get to him. They're going to want to go to Lonnie. They're going to want to go to Schroeder. They're going to want to go to like a Grimes. But yeah, he could be a standalone play like he was a few games ago at 3,600. So I will throw that out there. He's super risky, but he does have a path because the Warriors play really, really good at home. And if they get off to a very hot start, they could look to Rui off the bench for a spark. So that's my thoughts there. And then moving on to the Warriors side here, Steph, it's hard not to expect a legacy game from Steph tonight. Down 3-1, playing at home. I mean, he's been doing everything for this team. It's pretty much just been him. So he needs the other people to step up. But once again, it's really hard not to love Steph here. They had something going there with the pick and roll with him and Gary Payton, bringing Anthony Davis up top to the key and put him in that pick and roll and, bring him away from the basket. Allowed Steph to, once again, go for a ton of assists. I think they're going to start doing it again. So I think he looks very solid at 10,000. We know the upside with him. It looks great. KLAY Thompson, I think he's a solid play there. Should play the minutes. He's going to shoot the ball a ton. We know the upside with him. Wiggins, I think once again, he's a solid play. 39 minutes. I expect the same from him. This really wasn't too productive in those 39 minutes, but he should usually be a little bit more productive than that. So I like him to go for 30 plus fantasy points here, playing at home. So once again, I think he's a super solid play. And then moving on to Draymond Green, I think he's a solid play. We know the upside with him. Stay out of foul trouble. Went for 32.5. He has that triple double upside. Should see close to 40 minutes. So I really like that mid range for the Warriors once again. Kevon Looney, if he starts, I really like him. But if he comes off the bench, it's more of a contrarian take there. It's just he's not seeing the minutes right. So it's hard to get to him unless he starts. Jordan Poole, as I kind of mentioned with Gabe Vincent, he's one of those players where it's like he has a path to success. Like he's done terrible these playoffs. The minutes have been all over the place. But if he comes in and he hits a couple shots and he gets going, like he will get extended. He'll play like mid 20s minutes, maybe even more if he's playing well. And he has a path to success. So it's like don't throw him out of your player pool or just don't overlook him just because of the past few games. Like he could help you he could help you take down a tournament tonight if he just hits a couple shots and gets going in the first quarter when he comes in. So keep that in mind. Don't overlook him. He does have a path to success just like Gabe Vincent. So 4,500, he is firmly in play, even though he's been doing terrible. Gary Payton, if he starts again, I do like him. He played 23 minutes, got heavily involved in that pick and roll. I expect more of the same. Maybe not as many points, but maybe a little bit more peripheral stat wise. So I think he's a solid value play there at 3,800. DiVincenzo, I think he's a decent value play. He's actually been decently productive in the minutes. Once again, saw solid minutes there, 15 minutes. Moody, a decent play, I guess, as well. He's been doing decent. He's there, and that's really it. So that is the breakdown for today. If you guys like the video, hit that like button. To finish out this lineup here, to do the potential lineup build, let's finish it here. So let's just take Randall out of that utility spot there. Let's kind of clean up this construction a little bit here. We'll put Randall back in the power forward spot. Shooting guard, we'll just go through position by position. Shooting guard, let's see here. Let's just assume Gary Payton starts again. I do like him there. We'll throw him in the shooting guard spot. Center position, 5,300. Who we left with? I don't mind risking going to Mitchell Robinson. We can go to Kevin Love. You can take that shot on like Isaiah Hartenstein, but I think right now it's a weak center position. But right now, let's just go to Mitchell Robinson. For the sake of things, just for this potential lineup build. Obviously, a lot of things could change by the time lock starts, so make sure to follow me on my Patreon link down below. Forward position, 5,500 left over. Who do you want to get to here? Don't mind getting to Caleb Martin. Should see mid-20s minutes. Looks pretty decent. Has solid production. And does have a path to success. 6,800 left over. Allows us to get to a decent amount of guys. Barrett, Green, Russell. Obviously, the cream of the crop of the salary range. We can get to Kyle Lowry, Vincent. Who do we want to get to? I'd prefer getting to Green, but we also already have Peyton, Wiggins, Steph. So I think right now we'll just throw in D'Lo. There's a potential lineup build. Don't love it. Don't know if I'd do this lineup build, but in terms of the core plays here, we'll just take these guys out and we'll go to these 4 core plays: Austin Reeves, Andrew Wiggins, Julius Randle, Steph Curry. I will have updates on my Patreon link down below of what I end up going with for tonight's slates for the core plays. So make sure to hit that like button, check out my PrizePicks video, and I'll see you guys after this. Peace.